Okay, Algebra 2 students, this is a video for example 4 for section 2.5. We're going to complete the square to solve a real-world problem. Libby
plans to create a rectangular pasturing enclosure. She has 340 meters of fencing available for the enclosure's perimeter and wants it to have an area of 6,000 square meters. What dimensions should Libby use?
All right, so the length times the width should equal 6,000, and the perimeter, which would be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, should equal 340. So we're going to use those facts here. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width equals 340. Then they solve it for one of the variables. They chose to solve it for W by subtracting 2L and then dividing by 2. So they have W equals 170 minus L. And we know the length times the width equals the area. Excuse me. They replace the expression for width with 170 minus L. So we have L times 170 minus L. And then they distribute. Let's see, what do we have here? They distribute the L times 170 and the L times the L to get this expression here. And now we're going to solve using completing the square. They flipped it around because they want to have a positive L squared. So positive L squared minus 170L equals negative 6,000. Okay, they just multiplied everything by negative 1. And now we can take half of the 170. Half of 170 is 85. And 85 squared is 7,225. So that's what they've added here to make it a perfect square of L minus 85. But if you add 7,225 to this side, you need to add 7,225 to this side. To go along with the negative 6,000 comes out to 1,225. When you take the square root of both sides, you get L minus 85 equals positive or negative. It turns out 1,225 is 35 squared. So we have positive or negative 35, and then we're going to add 85. When we add 85, we get 120, or when we subtract 35, we get 50. So the length could be 120, or it could be 50. Turns out one of these will be the length, and one of these will be the width. And that's what they're writing here. They're showing it doesn't matter which way you go because it's length times width gets you the 6,000. All right. Just a way, kind of complicated, a way to solve a word problem. Let's see what word problem they give us. The relationship between the time since a ball was thrown and its height can be modeled with the equation h equals 32t minus 16t squared plus 4, where h is the height of the ball after t seconds. Complete the square to find out how long it will take for the ball to reach a height of 20 feet. Okay, see if so the 20 would go in for h, and then you would solve it. They want you to use completing the square, so try to use that method. Click pause and come back when you're ready. 20 is going to go in for h, so I'm going to have 20 on this side already equaling, and if you don't mind, well, I'm going to have to write it this way anyways. I was going to do a shortcut, but I don't want to confuse you yet. So I'm just rewriting the equation. Now, if you recall before, we need to have all the constants to one side. But I'm going to move, there's different ways to do this, but I'm going to move these over to the left-hand side by adding 16t squared and subtracting 32t. At the same time, I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides to bring it over to this side. So I'm going to get 16t squared minus 32t equals, and when I subtract 20 from both sides, I'm going to get negative 16. And this is very interesting. I can reduce this because every single term is a factor of 16, and that's going to help me out because completing the square really works if you have this coefficient of t squared is 1. So I'm going to divide everything by 16. When I divide everything by 16, I get 1t squared minus 2t equals negative 1. So to complete the square, let's see what color I want to go to green. I need to cut this in half. So half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, so I'm going to add 1 to this side and add 1 to this side. That's going to give me a perfect square over here. The perfect square is t minus 1. And that will equal negative 1 plus 1. That comes out to 0. So this one's going to be a little strange. When I take the square root of both sides, let me change color one more time so you can see the progression. Take the square root of this side and the square root of this side. This comes out to t minus 1 equals positive or negative 0. Well, 0 is neither positive nor negative, so I can just write 0. And then I'm going to add 1 to both sides, so t equals 1. Now, what were the units? Where h is the height of the ball after t seconds. So I believe after 1 second, the ball will be at a height of 20 feet. Let's see. 1 second. There it is. Okay. Your teacher can assign some of these problems. 42 and 54 are like the ones we just did. That's it for this video. Have a great day.